and overthrow capitalism. Not a fucked up fascist coup, but a liberating, revolutionary overthrow of this system. Then check out Baba Vinkin, go to revcom.us, or come talk to me, and I'll tell you why the history of my experience in this country, and the history that I found out about my generation from the slave plantation today, they cry out for actual revolution that won't be betrayed like they betrayed the Reconstruction. It won't be betrayed like they betrayed the Civil Rights era. It won't be betrayed like time after time and promise after promise they tell us they're going to change, but they can't because of the underlying drives and motions of their system. So I wanted to come out here and speak some real truth.
It's revealed.
Right, Mil-Spec Op Smokey here. Welcome everybody. It is, man, what a day. I don't even know where to begin, but if you guys just watched POTUS come out with his green screen and make a very interesting announcement, basically conceding everything. So I don't even know where to begin. So hey, without further ado, tonight we have, as we welcome everybody, we've got Scott McKay with us, Hotel 3, and Danger Doug. And so, hello. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how's it going? Good evening.
All right. So, hey, let me know, Hotel, if you can't hear us just by chance. I know you kind of got a pulse on the feed. I'm going to go full screen because the feed on my corner screen is going like crazy. So, all right. Anyway, so gentlemen, hey, Scott, did you see the thing that just posted about 40 minutes ago from Trump?
I just heard about it. I was actually doing a live stream when somebody let me know right at the end of it.
Yeah, he basically just conceded without saying conceded, but you know, he was I guess saying that you know, hey, we gave it a good effort, and the fight isn't over yet. That we need to fix the election stuff. That he just basically gave him the keys to the castle. Said he's gonna, you know, work on a smooth transition. So. Hotel, we got good sound. Everything good?
Yeah, you're coming through mono for some reason, but
okay.
Scott, can you say something again for me?
Yeah, how's that? We good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's just monkey. That's mono.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm working from the new studio setup, and so I'm trying to work with a lot of things. I probably also sound like I'm in a toilet, so hopefully that's I can get that fixed while you guys are talking. But and so, Danger Doug, you were making some very good observations. We were talking before we went on live here, just about some of the things that you observed and all the efforts that you were going through and some of the challenges you had and just trying to report a fair story. But you had some interesting observations, man. Do you want to let's kind of pick up where we were talking? You were saying that you noticed that everything seemed to be very staged, very it's just out of place. So you want to fill us in on some of that?
Yes, some of the things. So I've gone back, looked at the videos of things that were going on in the front of the building, where I was at, because I couldn't understand. So if you were looking at the back of the building coming from the mall, and there was a whole bunch of Capitol Police above, and they were standing there, and as they were looking down, one of the things I thought was, okay, this is kind of odd, because they're just standing there and you have these people down here, and I could see them. It's like they were trying to get into a doorway. And that's where you and I had talked. I got the shot.
Yeah.
It took me 2 efforts to get up through the crowd and push up through the crowd to get to that point where I could get that one shot. And I did that because I kind of had an idea what they were doing, but I wanted to get the shot of, okay, you have unarmed people that are going to try to get through all these riot police, the Capitol Police and riot gear. Okay, I don't want to say riot police, but the Capitol Police, they're dressed, they're kitted up. What was the ultimate goal once you got past that door? Let's be serious here, because once you get past a certain point, they're going to have people behind it. That's just basic police work. The amount of people they're going to have back there. They could have dispersed people, but it was as though they were letting everybody up there and just hit the Capitol, like try to beat that door down, knowing that they're not going to get in. Yeah. Now you have that situation going on, right?
Right.
All these people are doing it. All the police had to do above was just say, hey, if you don't disperse within 2 minutes, we're going to pop CS gas and get you off that platform. Mm-hmm. Because the reason I bring it up is all these unarmed people that are trying to make it in there, what's your end state? Now, I talked to a lot of people, they just wanted to be heard. That's what people were saying. Our voice isn't being heard and things of that nature. They felt the government had failed. And that was kind of the general consensus I was getting from people when I was asking people. Now, okay, you get in, now what's going to happen to you? They're not going to let you through at certain points. Now, I'm looking at the videos from the other side where you have the cop backing up the stairs, and it was a video you put up last night.
Yeah.
When you think about that whole video, I didn't understand.
Right.
As the cops backing up, that it didn't even make any sense. Why didn't they not try to stop them there?
Yeah. There's so many different non-lethal uses of force they could have done. OC spray on those guys would have stopped them dead in their tracks. They wouldn't have come through if he would have started spraying spray. Now, I don't know if he had that, but even just, pulling his weapon would have slowed. Like, they would have been like, yeah, I'm not going to be the first one to get shot. And then the first guy takes a step, pop, then the next guy's not coming, man. I mean, that's just common sense stuff. Security 101, right? And that was Capitol Police. But at the same time, you were talking about one of the things, and actually I had somebody else contact me that was former, he's military police, Navy, and he was like, he's worked K9 details with Secret Service and all kinds of different stuff. And the dude he knows his stuff, right? And he contacted me and he said, man, did you see how they opened the gates and let them, like, wave them in on one side of the Capitol? So there was a lot of things that were very, that looked false flag, like everything was staged. And that may be why you were seeing what you were seeing when you popped up to the front of that. But I got to tell you, the thing that concerns me most is the statement that Trump made about the MAGA supporters in his speech tonight. And it was kind of alarming because it almost made it feel like, dude, you got us all this far. We've all supported you. And then you just basically said, it was worth a shot. Good luck. And now all you guys that came up here and got, started pushing things around and breaking glass and getting crazy, we're coming after you. That's basically what he said in his 40-minute speech, which is just blows you away. as a patriot to think, man, did we just get flushed out? This is the conversation Hotel and I were just having, and he doesn't think so. And I respect him. So, but I also at the same time, I feel like, man, if anything, data collection wise, they know who all of us are now, every one of us. And so my fear is that you get a Biden in office, and we've already experienced what they're going to do. Those guys, the FBI is corrupt, the DOJ is corrupt, CIA is corrupt, the whole government is corrupt, and now we're going to let that just take power again. I don't know, man. I seriously think the Patriots are going to have to stand up, and we're going to have to fight. And I hope you guys are ready, because we got about 3 weeks to get our act together. So, Scott, what say you, man?
You're muted, Scott.
Am I unmuted?
Nah,
You're unmuted.
Okay. Yeah, I think you and I will be having a little show at Crossfire tonight. I'm the left side, you're the right side, except it's not politics.
All right.
So I just have a different perspective, and I think it's for whatever reason. Maybe I'm Pollyanna, maybe whatever it is, but I just. In fact, I just covered this earlier, and I didn't hear Trump say he was conceding, and I heard he was going to proceed with an orderly transition. Well, as I've seen Mike Pompeo say, when they asked, and the press asked Pompeo, he said, so he asked about the transition. He said, we're definitely going to have an orderly transition into the second Trump administration. So I talk to people about this all the time. Trump is a combination of Sun Tzu's Art of War meets Attila the Hun. And I think this is a perfect case from what I saw. I had a lady reach out to me, God love her, on one of the rare instant messenger messages that I can actually, grab.
Yeah.
And she reached out, and she just said, I'm reaching out to you with tears in my eyes. I fully respect and follow your every word. I don't know if that's always a great idea, but she said, I turn to you when I need a dose of hope. Please tell me everything will be okay. Said she says, for the love of my entire family, I worry for them. Yeah. And I just said, hi, Donna, sorry I'm late for you, but hang in there. Remember Sun Tzu's Art of War? When you're weak, make your enemy think you're strong. And when you're strong, make your enemy think you're weak. Okay. What do you think Trump is, strong or is he weak? Patriots are in. So my viewpoint is that I'll tell you how I saw yesterday. If it happened any differently, and Monkey, I've talked about this. I don't have any hope in a political solution. That sewer needs drained. It needs completely cleaned up. There's no way that anything can come from that. Did I lose my sound or anything? We good? Okay. So I just saw I must have clicked the light switch. But I expected that. Here's the way I see it. That was yet the final phase to smoke out all the traitors. When everybody got excited about these 11 senators who were now going to step forward and they were going to support Trump, challenging the election, I thought, we'll see how far this goes. And so what happened? We have Antifa infiltrate, the movement. We have patriots, of course, going to be instigated to go do what they were doing, right? So that being said, now I believe this: the Democrats and Antifa and the rest of them, they don't leave anything to chance. They're not going to. You saw how much of that stuff was staged yesterday, right? Yeah. So the question is, why did they stage it? What was the outcome they were hoping for? That being said, now they can say that the Trump rioters are out of control. Like Bill Barr said today, Trump caused all this on Fox News, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So what's the outcome? To give cover for the criminal senators who needed to find a way out to serve their masters that have been paying them their whole careers, because even those people know that if Trump figures it out, or if Trump gets back in power, they're all going down. People have got to get over this Republican Democrat thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. This isn't Republican versus Democrat, left versus right. It's
freedom
that
versus tyranny.
And if you understand the machinations of how Washington has worked against the best for humanity, not just this country, but humanity, sending our soldiers in war zones to experience hell for the benefit of the global central bankers. So when that all went down, I saw, okay, I hope this turns out that Penn stabs us in the back, because I want every single traitor to get caught up in the dragnet that they're about ready to drop on them. And, we've known from the day one that, military is the only way. There is no political solution. The entire political structure in this country is corrupt, clear down to the state legislatures, the governor's state legislatures, mayors, even local levels, police forces, or I say police commissioners, the politicians. So all I'm seeing, I think Donald Trump to me is that guy. If you saw Rambo in First Blood Part 2, when those Viet Cong soldiers were chasing him in the jungle on a rainy day, right? They're fighting guerrilla warfare, and the one comes up to this muddy hillside, right, looking for Rambo. And when do you see Rambo? His eyes open up because he's standing in the wall of mud. He looks like the wall, and he strikes whenever they see the whites of his eyes. That's what I think's happening here. Could I be wrong? Possibly, but in my opinion, Trump would have never taken this on if they wouldn't have known the outcome. Because if you understand the Khazarian mafia, which is take the CCP, take the communists, take the Bolshevik outpost that they're operating of the Rothschild faction out of Israel, take it all. It comes from one place. It's the Khazarian mafia. It's been in power for 1,400 years, and they never, ever leave anybody alive that's a threat. So Trump knows they would wipe out his entire genetic lineage back as anybody that's even connected, because they don't want him popping up 200 years from now. So I just can't see that Trump would on any level not know that they're going to finally finish this thing off. And
yeah, they will.
Believe nobody will be more stunned than me, but I think this fight is now moving into a new phase, and that's military takedown.
Well, it's going to have to, and you only have what's today, the 7th, and so we got till the 20th for it to occur. So we're down to a matter of weeks,
13 days.
13 days, yeah. So they're gonna have to do something, otherwise we're right in the Patriots are, if nothing occurs, and I hope you're right, Scott, I really do. I pray that you're right, but if nothing occurs in the next 13 days, then they will come after us. Just like you said, they're gonna come after Trump and his family, and then come after us. And we're easy targets. We're soft targets for the most part, because they send in IRS, FBI, those guys, take you down financially, put you in jail, or in the FEMA camps. I just think this could go completely south, and I hope you're right. I just I watched that video that Trump did today was, if you guys noticed, that was green screen all the way. So he is not at the White House. And why is he laying low? That's the only thing that gives me hope, really. Because if this was a smooth transition, he'd be at the White House, business as usual, and welcoming everybody with open arms. And for some reason, he's not. I think it's because he knows they're getting ready to play the 25th. And
did you hear about him in Abilene yesterday? Did you see that information that came out, true or not?
Yeah. Well, I tracked the flight. The flight that went out there was actually that was Night Watch that went out. It just went. Now here's the thing: Night Watch usually goes up and does a little flying around, and that flight went straight from DC straight to Dyess Air Force Base in Abilene. It did not. They didn't do touch and goes. They didn't go joyriding. They basically diverted for a little bit of weather, and then they went VFR direct straight into Dyess, and the air traffic that I watched around that area would actually support his pre-arrival, right? So the other thing too, and one thing I do want to show you guys, if you noticed that POTUS, when he was out giving his speech earlier in the day, he had on a thick wool jacket. Did you guys notice that? Yeah, Doug, you were there. You saw it, right? He had on that thick wool jacket, gloves. It was cold in D.C. Doug can attest to that. It was cold, right? Well, then they show the picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then they see him. He's out on the White House lawn, and he's got on just his regular suit jacket. And, if you notice, there are green buds behind him on the shrubbery, which tells you that's a spring picture. Like, this thing was, if he filmed that, he previously filmed that. That was not done yesterday, 100%. I mean, you just don't get spring buds in the middle of winter in December, right? Cherry blossoms are about the only thing I think that you get at one time a year. But so That to me, and then you see tonight, he's out doing his deal, making his talking about this smooth transition. He did not say the word concede, and I will give you that. That's one word I did not hear him say, and you probably won't hear him say, right? So now, we had heard that there was going to be some military activity going on around now, and we're kind of expecting to see that. So if this is indeed his play and his plan, then maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's bunkered down. He's getting ready to pull the trigger.
Throw something at you there, Monkey, on military activity. Now, again, I certainly am not going to land on this at all. It's just what I was told today that came from one person to another to me. I assume this was last night. I don't think it was today. It was last night. But again, we'll all vet this out and find out if anybody's got this information and finding it anywhere else. But the story I heard was there was a mission that went on last night in Ukraine, and there was it was an incursion of U.S. forces, American choppers that were being led by Russian choppers into Ukraine to a building that apparently Joe Biden owns. Now, again, no confirmation here. It just came at me a couple hours ago. I didn't have time. But apparently in that raid, in that building that Biden apparently owns, they couldn't find anything in the building, whether it's empty or whatever, but they did find access to the underground systems. And from what I was told was that they found a whole bunch of duffel bags with full of black tar heroin. I was told that they also found chain and cuffs on the walls, like you would in those rooms, the dungeons or whatever, mm-hmm. and that they found, I hate to say body parts, but that was the word that was used, that, were on the chains or whatever. So now if that is an actual, operation that's going on to go after Joe Biden or to try to bring more evidence out for what those people are involved in. I also heard from my source that's talking to some alliance generals that special operations had infiltrated Antifa's operation yesterday. And that if you listen to Mike Jaco, he talked about it today. You could tell, who was there because these professionals, they all can notice each other. But my contact said that special operators went in as dressed as Trump supporters, and the Trump patriots that were instigated by these Antifa thugs, and got inside the Capitol building. And when they did, and he read this to me, he was supposed to send it to me before my live stream, but it didn't come. But remembering what he said was that these operators, once they were inside the Capitol building, they did a raid on specifically Nancy Pelosi's and Chuck Schumer's offices. But throughout there, they grabbed 20 laptops and got a treasure trove of information. And he said that on those laptops were information of the sex trafficking, child sex trafficking stuff. They specifically mentioned Pelosi's name. Again, so that's why I say, who knows what really happened yesterday.
I was just reading about that, Scott. I just sent you literally just a second in chat.
Oh, you seen that specific information?
Yeah. As well? Somebody sent it to me on Twitter.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, there must be some.
Go ahead, Hotel.
I want to speak my piece now.
Yes, man. I was coming to you next.
I'm halfway on Scott's team. I'm mostly on Scott's team on this. POTUS didn't concede. Mm-hmm. Even if he did, I didn't concede. And
I love it.
I'll ride this all the way through the gates of hell. I don't care. They can come at me.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I know in my heart what is right, and what we're doing is what is right.
I would agree.
We've been lied to for 5 years now. And for 4 years, the left has said, not my president. Get ready to hear it for a while longer if this does happen.
Yeah.
And I mean from me. But I'm with Scott. I don't think this is over. And, to bring up the drops, we were never told who was going to win this.
Yeah.
Well, we might have to lose to win.
That's true. And by the way, to your point, did you notice today that they sent out a thing about the emergency broadcast system that everybody better comply with when it goes off? Now, why would that even be an issue if he was conceding things were going to go the way we think it would go after hearing him speak today. So I'm kind of second guessing myself. You guys are really you're convincing me. There may still be a little hope, but Doug, what say you, man, with your military expertise, man?
And your eyes on the ground yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my eyes on the ground and seeing what I saw, it, this is kind of hard to. I mean, there's just so much information to take in when you're actually there.
Yeah.
And like you and I talked this morning, the actual effort to get in the building, what I saw on the films that the news is putting out, people in the chamber, and then what I saw on the backside, where people were going up against the riot police, it didn't make sense, and that's why I said to myself, okay, I've got to get the shot to show what unarmed people are trying to do on this side, because it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And the other thing is looking at the reaction and the stuff that was coming out in the press afterwards, not just from the press, but the releases that were coming out regarding, certain, basically a lot of these government officials. Now, this goes back to Scott. What he said is people need to stop looking at this as a Republican and Democrat thing.
Right. No, I agree with you.
And I've said that to some of my friends, you have to stop looking at it as though it's a Republican or a Democrat, a rhino, or I don't know what the term would be for a Democrat that's super liberal, right? But you have to stop looking at it in that sense. And the reason being is, do you actually love your country? Do you love being here? And do you want the best for every person? Every country should want to be, MAGA in a sense, not just make America great, but make your country great.
Right.
And everybody should be able to have that type of living environment. We're at a time now, and like you said, Trump never said any. I haven't heard the word concede come out. He's just talked about the orderly transition. So what we need to see now is, okay, where's this going to go? Is there going to be an orderly transition? And that's one of the things I would love to see is, Trump would actually be able to stay in another 4 years because of the rhetoric that I've seen from I guess you could call the left, the Democrats. I like to say the left because I don't think all the Democrats, even though I think a lot of them are going along with it because they have no choice.
Yeah.
It's either you freaking signed up for this and you're going to vote this way. And if you don't, this is how we're going to destroy it.
Well, I think a lot of them have been blackmailed, and that's the thing.
Yes, and I think there's a lot of that going on also.
Yeah, exactly. So now, Hotel, you've been watching, you follow Code Monkey pretty closely, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. What was his latest? I thought his latest said something about, get ready for the 25th Amendment push against POTUS, right?
Well, yeah, Nancy Pelosi's already started that, according to Twitter's. So
yeah,
they're going to try to. They're going to try to shove them out, so they can install their people early. It's CYOA,
Mm-hmm.
They can. I'm sure they have people who follow us. There's probably one of them watching now, and they can go sit on their thumb for all I care. But they read the drops just like us. They know something's coming.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to get it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So Scott, what do you think, man? Are you hearing anything else about stuff from your buddy in Nellis?
I think he might have sent me something a day or two ago, but nothing that pretty much, if that hits me, he might text me here. Because he's watching, but I usually send, when I get something that looks like it makes sense to get over to you, I get it to you quickly. So I haven't really seen anything. Something today came in about Mnuchin just left Israel, referring to Nasara, but I haven't really kind of investigated that. Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder why he would be over there. That's a kind of a telling sign right there. I mean, for our finance guy to be going over there this late, I mean, if we were going to give up the ghost, why would he even bother, right? I mean, people would be basically saying, good luck to your replacement.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I mean, you look at, I heard Israel now is going to come to an agreement, a peace agreement with who is it? Sudan, I forget which. Another peace agreement's in play. Look, there's something very, very big happening in the world. And these guys couldn't get peace agreements in the Middle East for how many presidents now? And Trump's going in there and shutting down the entire shit show of what they've been doing in terms of the Khazarian mafia, trying to get control of the Middle East, get control of all the resources, all the wars, make them poor. Now, all of a sudden, that stuff is shifting. And if you have munitions in Israel for whatever reason, people are going to learn that the real power center of the bad things that's gone on around this world come from there. And it's hard for some people to swallow. It's not the Israeli people, but it's this Bolshevik fashion that runs what's going on. Those people had to boot heel in their neck in ways that most people don't really understand. And that's why they said Israel, these guys, the intelligence operation said they're saving Israel for last. The fact that Mnuchin is who he is, and somebody put this out, I never saw this before, and I'm a movie buff. Do you know how many films in Hollywood Mnuchin has been an executive producer of? Movies that you and I know. I saw this the other day. It's like, really? Holy Mary, Mother of God, are you kidding me? Because we've talked about a very well scripted. I said, this is a very well scripted operation, and that always includes media. And you got Steve Mnuchin in here with a background of having funded probably a dozen films that if you saw the movie poster, you'd say, are you kidding me? You can see it right there, you know, see his name on those. I thought, what an amazing twist in a story that is storyboarded, you know, to take us through this process. And I've said this many times, that the reason we're on this roller coaster, this ebb and flow, is not because they can't go take them all down. They have the power to do that 3 years ago. Why aren't they? They're trying to walk America and the world through a slow psychological process of waking up and seeing the reality and doing it at such a speed that they can absorb it block by block by block to get to the point where they're going to have to now be able to face some of the harder truths of what this country and the world's really like and what we have to, you know, fix and heal from. So I see this as a slow wake up operation. Most people say, yeah, we're awake. We're awake. You know, why don't they do it now? I'm like, okay, why do you see 80% of the people walking around with masks on? If we were awake, people wouldn't be wearing masks. Yeah, so again, it's I have this movie reel playing in my head, trying to watch it from that perspective as well, to see where this all lands. I'm still fascinated by all of it. I'm still pumped. I'm glad all those traitors identified themselves by certifying an election that they knew was illegal, that they knew was fraudulent. And how can they ever be trusted by this nation again? And now that when they show the proof of now this thing being run out of Italy by some Italian general and Italian satellites, all that new information that came out. Yeah. It's just going to be, I just think there's no way, there's no way around, what's coming.
Yeah. Now I've heard whispers about this Italian thing. Can you maybe walk us through, what was that all about? Cause that's kind of news to me. I mean, I heard it. You know, we always think about the Vatican. Vatican has got control of so much. It's not even funny. I mean, it's the richest nation in the world, and people don't recognize it. It's standalone little nation, right? So, what's going on with that?
Well, I was only paraphrasing what I was able to scan. It came at me yesterday, and I saw it from a couple different sources. But then today I had meetings all day long, and I couldn't spend much time at all to dig into that, which is what I'll do, tonight, tomorrow, to see what that's about. But it's directly tied to Obama, and this is pretty explosive information. I mean, we knew there are a lot of things going on in Italy. I mean, let's face it, the Vatican is what it is. I was on with Charlie Ward about 3 weeks ago. I'll be on with him next week. I'm going to ask him these questions, but he said, look, he said all roads lead to Rome. He said, look, they've already cut the head off the dragon. And Trump mentioned that, we're through the hardest part. They cut the head off the dragon. They took out the 13 Phoenician families, all 13 of them, in a simultaneous operation with 13 teams. And then they cleared out the Vatican. Again, people say, well, I saw the Pope. My question is, where did you see him? Like, were you there? Did you see him physically? Because we got all kinds of CGI effects and all the things they do. But you learn about those 60 cardinals that quote unquote died in Italy from COVID early in the spring. What'd they die from? So I've just listened to what he said. He said they've emptied the place out. So if they're that close to what's going on with the Italian military that was actually running the operate, and there's a trail that goes from Frankfurt right to Italy to this military technology that they were using in the switch the vote. This just came out like maybe in the last 48 hours. I don't think it's 72. I think it's in the last 48.
48.
You've probably seen this.
Yeah, it's 48 hours. They used Italian top secret satellite to beam the adjusted vote totals back to the U.S.
Wasn't it? Didn't they say it was like Leonardo or something like that? I remember.
It was Leonardo. Yeah, thank you.
You're right, Doug.
So we had. It sounds to me like we had multiple, like 4 or 5 different scenarios that were all manipulating the election, like from satellite, from Dominion servers, from people putting thumb drives in. I mean, good Lord, that blows me away to even think that level was taking place. I mean, how desperate are they to get somebody out when they're doing it?
It's life or death.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Win or die.
Well, look at the last election in 2016. You're talking about someone that came in completely from the outside. They won the election, and I think it basically caught everyone off guard. Because if you look at Trump and all the interviews he had 30 years ago, they're all pretty much his love of the country. He wants to see the country do good. He started the country getting ripped off. If you were to go back and look at we're talking the interviews on Oprah, all these talk shows, and people loved him. They loved having him on. He was a guest that they knew if they got him on, it was going to jump their ratings, all of that. Then we move forward, and we're in a situation where as soon as he's elected, they change the narrative and make him out to be the worst human being ever. And, we're in a situation where they did a complete switch and then try to make this person bad. I mean, this is complete psychological warfare.
Yes, it is.
And, I've talked to some friends of mine that worked in psychological warfare. And they said the same thing. Why they never thought they were going to see this happen to our own people. And then when you take in the effect of COVID and what's going on around the globe, they said this has basically been put on a global scale. Stuff we used to do in wartime to, try to win or, subdue a population through passive means by having to try to go in militarily and use full brutal force. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, you're exactly correct, man. And it is global.
Yeah.
The World Economic Forum recently confirmed all that with this initiative for what is it that they're doing? Oh crap! The Great Reset.
The Great Reset. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely I mean, that's coming whether it's America or not. I think they've got to get us out of the way in order for it to be successful. But Scott, you were talking about how it's a movie, right? Did you notice the camera angles that were captured yesterday when the Capitol Police guy was downstairs? There was a guy up above him with the video running, and then he's getting it all on camera. And then as soon as they come through, it was almost like he's like, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And then he lets him in, and he's like, follow me. It was just like a staged event. As he comes up the stairs, the guy with the camera was already backing up, watching him as he comes in. And then there was a guy on the corner of the stairwell that was taking pictures of the people going up the stairs. I mean, these people were like, you don't just get those angles by a natural ability. Like, people knew how to shoot the angles. That's the thing that got me. It was these people had training, I think, in my opinion, to get the right shots, the right angles, to paint the right picture, and to get it out to people right away. That's the thing that I noticed the most. That was it was staggering, and it was like you said, Doug, you had your pulse on it because you were there and you were witnessing what was going on, and you got in close and mixed it up to, so that you could get eyes on what was really bothering you. Like, something was eating at you when you were there. You couldn't get your finger exactly on it, but you knew it didn't feel right. You know, it's kind of like that. You know, I just bad mojo, man. Right? And you know, from being in combat, that you know, it's like when you're in a bad situation, you just kind of feel it, man. It's that gut instinct starts to kick in, and that's I think what you were experiencing yesterday.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to people, you know, the viewers. I mean, this morning when I woke up, the what was going through my mind, everything was going back to my mind. I was watching some of the videos, and then I'd have this flashback of what happened at this different time. I was trying to actually go back in my memory and the faces I saw, the people, the things that were going on, the effort it took just to get up to that certain point so I could get that shot with the picture. It took like two efforts to push up through there and get to a spot, because I was trying to push up through there. And when I finally got that shot, because I wanted, you know, I want people to understand that this isn't going to happen. You're not going to get through this opening. Why are they letting this happen? Why aren't the police up there dispersing people and then just coming down and talking to them, saying, listen, you're not going to break into the Capitol? The stuff that we saw from the other side where people were in there breaking the glass, you know, I think there was probably some people that got caught up in the emotion of the event. Obviously, what was her name? Ashley
Yeah, the girl
Barrett?
that shot. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think there were some people that got caught up in the emotions of the event and just kind of walked through. You know, I remember they were talking to one guy. I think I saw something where the person said, hey, we thought the doors were open because some people filtered in because there was no police around.
Yeah, which is that. What
Which
does
is
that tell you?
very, very awkward. And something doesn't sound right. Why did you have such low security there at the U.S. Capitol building?
Yeah.
And now everyone, today I've been hearing some of the broadcasters and some of the different news agencies, people are saying, oh, now we have to beef up security. Now we have to do this, that, and the other. That's the way that I've seen. They've always had great security there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely backwards. It didn't fit. That's what I'm saying. It was and you know, Hotel and we went, you know, for several hours yesterday, kind of going through it, and we were watching things unfold live. And I mean, you remember Hotel that some of the stuff that just stood out to us were like, that just didn't seem right, you know?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it just doesn't. It doesn't add up to begin with.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah, yeah. I do have to say this. You've seen the picture, Monkey, of where I was able to get that shot.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have to give credit to the Capitol Police for the common collective they had there to defend that area, but they didn't take out lethal force on anyone. And I think that was a very good thing.
Yeah. Well,
But it still bothers me that that none of that would have happened if they just would have, with the guys that were on the above platform overlooking everything, they would just disperse everybody and push them back. People would have still stayed there in the open area where they could have, but it would have never gotten to that advanced point.
Yeah. Now we did see. I thought Hotel. Didn't we see somebody in a MAGA gear getting the snot beat out of them yesterday late?
Yeah. It was already past dark in DC. I don't know where they were. Looked like they may have been trying to move across town or whatever, and the riot police were pushing them back. Now the difference, they've done similar tactics to Antifa and BLM, but they were going way beyond what they used in the previous incidences, like way beyond. Beating people with batons, and you know, it was quite sad to see.
Yeah.
You know, but given, you know, that
Well, it certainly wasn't a bunch of soccer moms and MAGA, you know, our regular MAGA rally guys, for sure. I mean, the way they were conducting themselves, they knew the points to go in. I mean, I've never been there, and I can tell you, I would have to walk around that building 3 or 4 times to figure out where the heck the entrance, besides the main big one going up, they seemed like they knew all the entrance ways. They knew which way they were going. They were green lighted, like they moved the little Disney barricade out of the way, and you saw guys pulling them, waving them in as they rushed in, and they seemed to be sequenced, I guess is the best way to say it.
They were led.
What's that?
They were led. They were led in.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, so one thing I will tell you, I was watching the Marine One Biden helicopter coming into the sniffer from Vegas, and as you guys know, I kind of keep a pulse on that because that helo is made for going around and smelling air. It does air quality samples, right? So it flies around and takes different altitudes. It goes around certain areas, and it's basically grabbing anything from, it's looking for nuclear fallout, radioisotopes, chemicals, biological, any kind of thing that's in the air. It's sniffing all of that air, right? And so that thing is on the move again today. And so it went from Vegas to right now it's in Amarillo. So it's really interesting to see, which is up, I don't know, it's not far north of where we think POTUS may be right now, right? Which is Abilene at Dyess Air Force Base. So if that is the case, I'm really interested to see what activity that thing starts taking in the days ahead. Where does it go? Is it going to be slowly transition its way to East Coast for the Biden inauguration, or is it sniffing, around Texas for, some type of an attack to try and take POTUS out if they can't get him through the 25th Amendment that they're pushing? So
maybe that's why we didn't get the $2,000. We only got the 600. That way they could afford to pay all the attendees for the inauguration.
That sounds logical to me, man. I don't know. I really, the next 13 days is really I think it's gonna test all of us because, to Scott's point, and I honestly, I pray Scott is spot on. I pray that you're spot on, Hotel, that you've got, I know you have been, you've had your pulse on number 17 since day one, right? And so you've been watching all of this.
No,
not day
actually.
One. Oh yeah,
no.
That's right.
I just woke up a year ago.
Yeah. Okay. Well, heck, I actually have been following him since not day one, but probably about 3 months after he started doing his thing. But is it a psyop? I certainly think that was that. It was 100%, right? I mean,
well, people say psyop like it's automatically a bad thing.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
No, doesn't mean it's bad.
If it built the world's largest patriotic army, well, then so be it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doug.
Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is, if you look at, and I think Scott, maybe we're on the same sheet of music on this. A lot of people I talked to, I remember, they said, what's all this? They're going to arrest everybody. When are they going to arrest him? I'm getting tired of when they're going to arrest him. Let's do it. Let's get it over with. And then I remember I even said to, a couple of my friends and some close people, to me in the family, I said, it's not going to happen that way. They can't do things that way. And I said, you have to walk people through. You have to show people. You can't tell people. You have to show them. You can't tell them. I said, because what happens is people will never accept if you tell somebody something, but if you show them and you actually make them go through the process of seeing it and mentally registering in your brain, it's going to wake you up. And that's what's happening right now. That's why you have so many people that are saying, I'm awake. And that's why when I was there yesterday, my senses were on overload.
Well, I'll tell you guys, Hotel, you said it right. That this, when they say it's a psyop, I'm like, you bet it's a psyop. It absolutely has to psychologically walk people through a process to understand the reality and the horrors of what this Luciferian order has perpetuated on the planet and the mechanisms whereby they used those as leverage to gain control of people's minds, like Hollywood.
Yeah.
We would have never known. We would have never known about the rampant SRA stuff right out of Hollywood. Our heroic actors, people we revere. We would have been able to pick out the symbolism, the satanic symbolism in Hollywood movies and kids movies and Disney. And you couldn't, like, it's just like Doug said, you couldn't just throw that. You couldn't tell them later on. You had to walk them through to see it exposed a little bit at a time. And as it continued on. So a PSYOP, yeah, and a PSYOP is to wake us up to the reality of the planet, number one, and number two, to prepare us for this very time right now amidst all this chaos, that the people who've been following the intelligence are going to be here to help everyone else in the midst of the chaos understand what's happening. That's why they poured out, nearly 5,000 different drops. So those who studied, those who put them together, and believe me, I'm not one of these anons that are brilliant, that have done that amazing research, but they've made sense of a lot of it, what could be deciphered. So when this time came, look, I can tell you right now, if I didn't know what I knew from all of this intel and from, a long-term perspective and different people I've been talking to, if I didn't know this stuff, believe me, if I was in DC, I would be leading the charge up those Capitol Hill steps, because I know what criminals and scumbags these people are. That's where I would have been. But I'm here sitting. I couldn't make it. I had an issue with, one of the legs with metal in it. And so I wasn't going to be able to walk a lot. And I stayed here. But I go to bed every night at peace, half a smile, wake up the same way. And I want to pose one thing. I watched your show this morning, Hotel, or Doug and Monkey. I watched some of that video footage, and absolutely, look, when things look suspicious, then there's a reason they look suspicious. And just like they let that wall roll through there, I mean, all of that. But here's what's interesting. When I've seen enough false flag events in the years through Obama, and of course, the last 4 up until COVID ended all the false flag attacks. But I came across this. Somebody sent this over to me on the 4th of January. Ivanka sent out a tweet, and she mistakenly tagged her father, or she mistakenly tagged Meatloaf instead of her father in a photo, right? You say, Meatloaf, what does that mean? Well, when you say Meatloaf, you think of the food, or you think of, that singer and that band we all love, Meatloaf, right?
Right.
So now somebody sees that and they send out a tweet, Synth, SYNTH. Her name was Roberta Paulson. Roberta Paulson, protester shot in the neck at DC and died. Then you look at Meatloaf. Now, here's how somebody put this together. What's the significance of that? Ivanka sends out a tweet yesterday, it's on the 4th, by the way, with the name Meatloaf for her father. Today, a woman named Roberta Paulson was allegedly shot in the neck and died from her injury, according to the mainstream media. Meatloaf, the singer who we know, plays Robert Paulson in the movie Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Is that an accident?
Just about to say.
Yeah, reminder. Meatloaf, the singer,
name is Robert
played
Paulson.
in the film The Fight Club, was called there. His name in the film was Robert Bob Paulson. In that movie, Robert Paulson was shot in the neck and he died. Ivanka sent a message yesterday, meaning no more games. Meatloaf is in. Who could know such a thing? The director, the screenwriter, or who read the script? Anons see a movie playing out. And then you find out Steve Mnuchin has been a funder of many Hollywood films. And obviously, if you're funding a film, and I know this personally, you're an investor. You are reading the screenplay to know exactly whether you're investing in a good story or not. So when you look at stuff like that, you look at the things you saw, Doug, that were suspicious, you and the things you guys talked about this morning, you have to start putting these pieces in here and factor in how they've, like you said, Hotel, they've lied to us about everything. They've scripted their own movies of life to try to get us to think something else, and to give them their exit opportunities to skate away from something that they've done to humanity, and it just was happenstance. So, anyways, that being said, I found that quite interesting.
Also, think of the sheer raw power it takes to get an entire media industry to lie for 4 years. That's
Yeah, when they've stacked it with, with the agency has stacked everybody in there and they control everybody.
Yeah.
That's not hard at all,
They got
right?
pictures. They got pictures on everybody, man, for sure. Every one of them are
And that's
watching
right.
them.
Doug said that. He said, I think they get these people and, they blackmail them. Trust me. And that, I didn't know this till later when I bailed out of my, my mindset of that's where I would, give service to the country. But they do. They invite them out to dinners. And look, these people get inside the Beltway. To them, it's an incredible experience. They're treated like a Hollywood rock star, and they could be from Podunk, Pennsylvania, Podunk, Kentucky, like where I came from in PA. Once they're there and they've got the government credit card, they got the budgets for this, they get to do all this amazing stuff. And then the people start to warm up to them. The people that are going to entrap them, and they invite them to a dinner. They slip them something in a drink. Now they're like out of their minds. Throw them in a bedroom, throw a child in. Picture is a horrible thing. And then they just say, look, here's what you're going to do. And they're horrified. I'm sure many of them are. There's some good people that were trapped. But it's like, look, whatever happens is going to happen. You either do this or we put this out there. And believe me, we have a cell machine. You've seen the media. And we'll destroy your whole life. Your family, your kids will hate you, blah, blah, blah. So imagine what happens there and how you can't always, there's some good people that are being blackmailed and bribed that were totally entrapped. And that happens. That's how they get them. And when they took down Saudi Arabia in 2017 and they had to, declared martial law and rounded up those 1,000 princes and threw them into Four Seasons there and started the Blackwater interrogation. When they got the big one, Al-Walid, and they hung him upside down for 3 days. He gave up everybody, including 70% of everybody in Washington, D.C. on his payroll. You know what I'm saying? So that was a side note. I don't know where I was trying to inject that into our conversation.
Well, hey, but you know what? It's a funny thing that you mentioned that payroll. If you look at what the average congressman or senator or House person makes a year, it's about $7 million a year is what they make by the time they get older.
You're talking outside of the pay scale, right?
Yeah,
oh yeah,
it's
all their benefits.
Average is $7 million a year. Wow. Go look it up. It's out there for public to see, and it talks about every one of them, what their payroll is. There was 2, maybe 3 senators in the entire mix that probably made $300,000 a year. One of them from Texas made like $175K a year, and he was obviously not one that had been compromised, but everybody else was like in the $7 million a year payroll, which is just staggering. You go in as a public servant and make $7 million a year. They're professional sports players that don't make that kind of money. It's insane. So. But yeah, so hotel man, tell me what do you think if we just look at the next? We got about 3 minutes left, man. What do you think the next 13 days looks like?
Fun.
Okay, man of many words.
It's got to come quick, if something's going to happen, unless and I want to say this to the people who are watching. We were never told exactly when or what people had to be shown. It could very well be that people have to see the ugly side of Biden. Let's say Trump gets picked up, hauled off, for trial, and then they start their whole tyranny, because let's face it, that's what it's going to be. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. The way everything is currently stationed, it doesn't look like it's going to go that way. So, but I'm not going to lose faith. I'm not going to lose hope. I will continue this on till the bitter end.
Yeah, right on. I hear you. Doug, what say you, man? Next 13 days. What's your thoughts?
Well, if anything, obviously 13 days, not a long time. Actually, I would say we're less than 13 days.
Yeah.
We're the clock's ticking. You would hope to see something that's going to renew people's faith. Because I think a lot of people's faith, from what I could see, people were upset. And I think some people, their emotions got the best of them. They didn't mean any harm. And I think people need to understand this. A lot of what I saw, I never heard people say, look, we're going to go in there and murder people. We're going to hurt people. There was none of that.
Yeah.
There was none of that. So keep your faith and, just don't listen to the news. The news is so demoralizing.
Right.
That in and of itself is a psychological operation. That is to demoralize you.
Yeah, without a doubt. You definitely need to unplug. Otherwise, you're going to start thinking like them, man. It's all programming. So, all right. So, 2 minutes left. Scott, what say you, man? 13 days. What do you think's going to happen, brother?
Well, I know we've seen in the past, we've heard that the first arrest is going to send shockwaves and
Yeah.
set the direction for where we go from here.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably been 18 months or more. I said the first arrest is going to be Mike Pence. Whether that happens or not, but that wouldn't totally surprise me. I'm like, I knew it. That's the guy.
Yeah, that would make sense to me too, man. And I think, especially after what we've seen, I think there were so many people that thought because, and here's the thing, people, you think somebody because they quote unquote are a Christian, right? That that they are going to be an upright walker and doing the right thing. And I think honestly, what opened our eyes was the fact that you get wolves among the sheep, and there's a lot more wolves out there than we realize, So
the Vatican can sell us for how many years and generations that they're Christians and are actually a Luciferian order under the cover of Christianity. Mike Pence can sell us on the same that he's a Christian. That's how good these people are. And just research Timothy Holmseth, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Timothy Holmseth. Do the research.
All right, man. All right, gentlemen. Hey, listen, thank you all for your time. Thank you, the viewers out there. I'm seeing 40,946 concurrent viewers out there right now. So Danger Doug is getting ready to start his own show. Scott McKay, you've got yours.
Yeah, can I say one thing about that, folks? Just so some of the people are trying to find me.
Yeah.
I got my second strike. I'm in YouTube jail for 2 weeks because I was on with Sherry Tenpenny, and there was vaccine conversation. So people can't find me on that channel, and they go crazy. So just remember this: the Untold History channel. That's the backup until the 20th. So all my stuff's being done on the Untold History channel on YouTube. So
we better start looking for one.
Yeah, I know. It's coming for sure, man. Especially if you know who gets in. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, hey, listen, you guys have a blessed night, and I really do. I thank you all for coming on and sharing your voice, and I look forward to working with you guys. I think this is going to be some interesting times ahead, and I can't think of any 3 other gentlemen that I would enjoy going through hell's fire through this whole thing. So it's going to be interesting.
Awesome. Hey, no problem. And to everybody out there, keep the faith.
Amen. All right. Hey, listen, God bless. You guys be good. Stay frosty, because I think 13 days is getting ready to rock, man. I'm going to send us off, and then I do want to thank those that are supporting me on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you. So you guys be good. Be safe. God bless.
Good evening, Patriots. And what an interesting day we have. This is Scott Kesterson, and this is the Bards FM podcast. Patriots, we're at a pretty interesting juncture right now, and I'm going to be very honest. With the post from President Trump a bit ago, I've had to do a lot of reflection. I guess it came up about an hour ago. And I've had to do a lot of reflection and perspective on where we are in this battle. And we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. And I'm going to focus a lot on where we need to be or should be. And that's about and a necessary of where we are at this juncture in the fight. But before we do that, let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time in which we live, a time of challenging moments and a time of awakening of our souls, a time for us to truly be aligned with you and to take our stand beside you in the face of what seems like a coming darkness. Let us remember the words in Isaiah 42:13. The Lord goes out like a mighty man, like a man of war who stirs up his zeal. He cries out, he shouts aloud, he shows himself mighty against his foes. Let us never bow to evil. And in this moment when all hope seems to be diminishing, let us remember the wisdom that you have given us time and again, that through prayer, through faith, in the end, you win and we all win. I say these things in Christ's holy name. Amen. I'm going to start by just a perspective today. And the perspective is the concept of war. And I'm going to talk from experience firsthand. And it's a difficult thing because, in fact, a lot of people, there's a limited number of people that have been in the tip of the spear of war. And this is not for me to boast myself up, so don't take that. But I think there's some wisdom here that I need to pass on. There is a time in every fight when the tide of the battle shifts and you have to adapt. And unfortunately, over the last 3 years, a lot of this battle has been shaped by a platform which we all know as Q. And in this process of Q, there is an image that all things will work out easily, that we would all come together and sing Kumbaya at the end. There was a lot of that. And that we would all be united and that the military would solve everything. Here's what I have always said. My faith is in God. I trust that President Trump had a plan to drain the swamp. The Q was always my pivot point for research, but in the end, my decisions were mine and my research was mine. Now, if you follow this podcast from the beginning, you'll know very well that that has been a consistent theme I've pushed from the very beginning. I've had people ask me sometimes, like, how did you survive on Twitter? I'm dead on Twitter now, but how did you survive on YouTube? And a lot of it is I'm just presenting some honest facts and some honest research of things that are not contingent on these contentious, I should say, AI contentious topics like the Q board. But I think it's important to understand that at the core of I've always had this problem, is that when we trust a plan, I think that there was a misinterpretation of what the plan was. And the plan, in my opinion, has always been us. And I've said this many times. And that plan, if it's us, means that that plan is tied to God. Now, tonight, I've listened to President Trump's, whatever we want to call that speech. Call it a concession speech, whatever. It's weird. I can confirm that Mark Meadows is blocking all information to President Trump from outside. I can confirm that. There is a Praetorian Guard, so to speak, of the deep state that's wrapped around the president right now. and is preventing a lot of communication from coming in. There is a danger when you have too much emphasis in a time on a single man, and I've talked about this so much, that in the principles of us being the plan, it is a country by and for the people, we the people. And so it is up to us to make a choice of what we want now. And that's truly where it begins. We are at that juncture. What I can assure you, patriots, is that whatever happens on the 20th, one particular resolution will not be accepted by the majority of the country. Now, it's obvious that this is being, before I get much further tonight, and I'm kind of getting warmed up, so bear with me here, because I have a feeling once I get rolling, I'm going to be moving pretty fast. And I'm choosing my words carefully because we're at a critical point right now, even on this platform, where censorship has been warned that if there's any sort of theories put out against the new president-elect, that these videos and potential platforms can be taken down. So I'm going to tell you this, and you need to take it seriously, because this is what I've also instructed the mods. Learn code. And you need to learn to speak and work in camouflage. And I'm going to be blunt about this. If you don't know the Lord of the Rings, learn the story, because I'm going to be using it a lot. If you don't know the Bible, get a copy, because I'm going to be using it a lot. Because I can tell you the story of today with references to literature, and you need to follow along. Because in the end, I'm just telling you a story. And this is where now you have to learn camouflage. You have to learn to adapt. I get comments every day. The mods get comments every day of people not liking the fact that they don't have the right to free speech. Here's my answer to you. Get another platform if that's what you want. We're going to survive this, and we're going to use this platform because it reaches more people, and it reaches people more greater globally. And that's why we're here. And the part of this information fight, and any information fight, is you have to adapt. So, to begin with, let's talk about this event in the Capitol, because I'm going to put a cap and close on this tonight. Whatever happened there, the family has come out and spoken about the woman that's died. For anybody that's trying to dig into that event, this calling it a false flag, you're fighting an uphill battle that you'll lose. It's not whether it is or isn't. It's fact that this war is built on the perceptions of reality, and get used to it. Because for some time, you're going to have to adapt to the perceptions of reality in order to survive and to win. Information wars, I have said from the very beginning, are the most devastating wars anybody could ever wage. They are a war of constant deception and twisting of words. They are a war of nuance. And especially when you have to work through a system that is a fabric, a matrix that is completely controlled by a master control grid, you have to learn to adapt and move through it. You have to be creative. If you don't like the Lord of the Rings and I use it, tough. It has incredible metaphors for right now. And that's just the way it is. It's just like I said, there's a lot of issues around how to communicate and how to communicate this story. The principal issue that we are all at right now is at a moment in the fight when everybody needs to take a breath. The tide has shifted, and there's a lot of things happening, and no one can really tell what is happening. Everything that we kind of expected seems to be falling apart. And this reminds me a great deal of the book of Esther, the 17th book of the Bible. It's the book of Esther. And the book of Esther gets at a point when all seems to be lost. there is a point in that when, because of Haman, he's issued a dictate by the king to have all the Jews destroyed. And thanks to some very good work by Esther and Mordecai, her uncle, it's revealed, what Haman's plot is revealed, and he is hanged. But it doesn't remove the dictate to the destruction of the Jews. They are still facing extermination. And the king even says that he can't do that. But the king gives authority for them to defend themselves and to make a choice. And in that moment of choice, they have to decide whether they want to live or die. There are so many emotions running right now. There are emotions of anger. There's emotions of hate. There's emotions of wanting to take up violence. There's emotions of people wanting to give up. And I can't help those places right now. What I can say is it's pretty simple in a wartime situation for me. Because I switch off of even wanting to hear those emotions right now. Because it's clearly there has to be a way forward. There's one thing that war teaches you. It's a discipline of emotions. And you have to stay focused on what's before you. And at certain points, you have to take a knee and take a breath and watch. You become the sniper. And you have to see what's going on around you. There's never a sense in your mind that you're going to retreat or give up. There's never a sense of mind in your mind that you're going to be defeated. But there is a moment when you have to literally just sit quiet and watch and observe. So this is that moment. And in those moments, you can sit there and just try to work those problems through your head, or you can do something greater, which is literally go into your space of faith and prayer with God and just sit there and listen. Never had a concept. You know, the broad spectrum of faith is one thing, but when you tie faith to God, there's purpose in faith. And right now, this is that time when everything is getting sorted out before us. People have to make a choice. I honestly do not know what's coming. I've had all sorts of questions put to me. We have people saying that we're seeing the return of Christ. Maybe. We have people saying that it's going to be the rise of the Antichrist. Maybe. Here's what I know, Patriots. None of that even bothers me. Because what I know is in this moment in time, my responsibility is to live without fear, to stand strongly with God, to hold my line, which is what God would expect, and at certain moments just to sit quietly and listen. And in listening and observing, and listening and observing, and then returning, most importantly, to the gifts we are each given. There is no greater time right now than this, than to do that. Let me explain what that means. The world is literally, the world that we know is, I don't care which direction we go, it is collapsing and it is never existing anymore. And when I say this, I want you to think about what President Trump has said in two talks, in particular in Today. And I want you to use the metaphor that I've been using repeatedly for well over 200 shows of Exodus. And I want you to think about what I'm going to say here. We're making a choice between living in enslavement or being set free. No matter which direction we choose, the current system under which we live is completely being dissolved and destroyed. There is nothing that will be left when it's over. Nothing. The system that we've watched is on one side the Great Awakening, and on the other side the Great Reset. The Great Reset and the Great Awakening do one thing in common. They destroy the old system. It's gone. That means every bit of relationship that we had, that we were accustomed to, is gone. That is one guarantee no matter what path you take. So at this moment in time, this moment of consternation, concern, and fear that many people have, anger, none of it matters. It's normal emotion. Enjoy the moment while you have it, and then let it pass, because it doesn't matter. Because no matter what choice we make, everything in our life that we know is going to transform. And the key word is what choice we make. This is truly the juncture. And the path ahead is not going to be easy, nor has it ever been, but it's going to get more difficult. The position of us being brought to this point, and the expectation and hope that President Trump would carry us beyond this point, lives in a bit of an ethereal space right now. And I say that because there's a lot of strangeness in both of these talks he's given. And I can't really put my finger on exactly where we are, other than to make this connection by metaphor. And it has not to do with him, but it goes back to that story of Esther. It is a question. It is that place in the movie that you arrive to when all hope seems lost. When the hero of the film seems doomed. And the question is, will he be saved or will he fall? In the book by Ayn Rand, which I'm now drawing a blank on, so I'm going to have to give another example. In her stories, there is a point when the hero literally is captured by the enemy and is being tortured heavily, and it's a group of people that come in and save him. Okay? That's Atlas Shrugged. In Esther, it's the moment in time when it seems like the doom of everything is lost. And it's at that moment when the king says it's okay for the Jews to protect themselves. There's a passing on of the power, and this is what's very important in where we are. If you have been worshiping the place that a man would save the nation, President Trump, then right now you're going to be feeling as though you're in free fall and don't know what to do. If you've been paying attention to the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and it says we the people, and you look at the battlefield right now and you realize that there are many leaders on this battlefield trying to lead the people out and back to control, then it's a matter of having a moment of reprieve, realizing that there's going to be a change in this leadership, perhaps, but nonetheless, all the power rests with us. This maneuver, whatever is going on right now, in my opinion, is where we're going to define truly where we can go as a nation, in a positive way or a negative way. I'm also at a place right now, and I truly feel this. I don't know that in a sense of a unified republic that is necessarily the answer. We have an enormous amount of difference, and it's been defined very heavily over this last couple of years. And so now I think it's time that we all need to make a choice. Us or them. And that's really the sense of the Exodus place. I know that a lot of people right now are really torn. And there's no doubt that what we've experienced over this last 4 years has been anything but successful as far as our expectations in homes. And where we are over this last 4 years is the reality more than anything of how deep this corruption is. And the corruption is global, it's massive, and it's beyond anything we've ever imagined. So, what we are facing right now is an opportunity to make that direction known and where we want to be. Now, I'm going to bring in my Lord of the Rings metaphor, so follow me. If you don't know the story, let me begin with this. There is a quote by Tolkien. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them.
Gave him an intentionally defective bomb.
It's a startling allegation from two local attorneys who were on board the 2009 Christmas Day flight to Detroit when Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalib tried to blow up a bomb hidden in his underwear. Kurt and Lori Haskell think the U.S. government was behind the whole thing.
It was intentional, and it went this far to further the war on terror, to get body scanners in the airports, to increase the TSA's budget, to renew the Patriot Act, and whatever other reasons you want to list.
The Haskells say in Amsterdam, before boarding the flight to Detroit, they witnessed Abdul Muttalib arguing with a ticket agent at the gate because he didn't.
More good people than bad, so have faith. This was a hostile takeover from an evil, corrupt network of players, not just Democrats. Don't fool yourself into thinking Obama, Soros, Roths, Clintons have more power present day than POTUS. Operation Mockingbird. Patriots are in control. Sit back and enjoy the show. I know, he cute. You don't have to tell me. I'm looking at. I saw Twitter. I'm kind of disgusted.
Remember what's still
until
left
he says I concede and congratulates Biden. I'm not. No.
I was going to say, remember what's still.
Say that you have.
Remember what's still left on Twitter, though. If you go into Twitter for your news, that's pretty sad, man. You got those blue check marks that are like, come on, gosh, they're fake terrible. MAGA. Oh no! Now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's over. It's done. You people are living in a fantasy.
Hold on one second. I'm reading number 4, so you guys know. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say very quickly, the president never conceded, okay? He did talk about peaceful transition.
Well, here we go, friends. Yesterday was clearly a setup. You can see that with everything that's breaking out right now. Actually, when we were live streaming yesterday, we were like, damn, before that woman got shot, by the way, before the woman got shot and before about 3 people got pushed off a 35-plus foot balcony and ended up dead, apparently. They're saying 4 people died. We're like, damn, look at this. Those based patriots were able to get into the Capitol building without a shot being fired? That's insane. I mean, they were being batoned at first, and they were being pepper sprayed at first. And then we started getting these weird videos where it looks like the police kind of let them in, or maybe they just jumped over the barrier. And we're like, damn, that's weird. Okay, maybe that's part of the plan. What's going on here? That's part of the plan. Well, yeah, that was part of the plan. That was part of the deep state's plan. They let those people into the building. They were hoping that the Antifa that they mixed into the group, by the way, no one's disputing this, by the way. We got plenty of pictures of these fucking Antifa tards. That were dressed up as MAGA supporters. They told everybody they were going to do it. We've got some cross-reference images of these idiots at BLM and Antifa events in the past. Same people. They're in there. One of these fucking dudes is stealing, I don't know, a podium or something. We've got him at other BLM marches. Anyway, the plan was to let them into the building, to beat the Patriots and gas them and everything at first, until it can get like super duper scary for the Congress people and they can go down into the basement and jump on that little fucking trolley and get the hell out of there. And then they were going to open it up, let everybody in there, and they were hoping Antifa was going to burn the entire fucking place down. They were hoping for a Reichstags type event carried out by Antifa members dressed as Trump supporters. But it didn't go down, because the Trump supporters were beating the hell out of everyone trying to set the building on fire. The Trump supporters were stopping those idiots from ransacking the building. The Trump supporters were keeping and maintaining the peace, which is why all of the rhetoric around this looks incredibly silly at this point. Everybody on the left-hand side is screaming that yesterday was the darkest day in America's history, that literally terrorists went down there and destroyed the building. This building, by the way, that they killed a woman in, they rushed right back to a few hours later and then carried out the rest of the counting. So, hold on, what? Don't you care about all the coof that these people brought into the building? Don't you care that there's a dead woman on the floor? No. We gotta get back into this. This building was so utterly destroyed, they were able to get back in there and continue their ceremonial count, though. Remember that? It's a ceremonial count. Don't worry. We gotta rush back in here for the end of the day and get this count done, because ceremonial reasons. Anyway, all of the rhetoric that they're talking about right now, it doesn't make any sense, because Antifa wasn't able to do what they were supposed to do yesterday when they were let into this building. We got fucking tons of videos now. A few hours later, we've got tons and tons of videos. Shit, here's a video right here of a cop literally opening up the barricade and waving the fucking people into the building. This was a straight up psyop from the deep state. Now, this falls right into place, by the way. You can see how this is all playing out. Donald Trump invites the Patriots down there. These people invite the Patriots with the Antifa mixed in into the building. And then they were hoping that the building would be burned down, so then they can come out and they go, that's it! Trump has to be impeached right now. 25th Amendment right now. Get rid of this man. For a broken window? Now, none of the fucking events that they wanted to happen ended up happening. So now all the rhetoric looks like it's insane. The mainstream media press comes out. They demand that Donald Trump is removed from office immediately. They have silenced him off of every platform. Every platform. Every tech platform has now silenced Donald Trump. Because they're fucking scared. They are still scared. They are fucking nervous. They don't know what this man is going to do between the next 13 days. And so they are running out there. This was their last op. This was their last chance. Again, they really wanted that building on fire. That would have probably worked. If we would have burned the building down, if we would have let those Antifa-tards burn the building down, there would be such a mass upheaval from normies across this place that Trump would be forced to resign. That's what they were going for. It didn't happen the way they wanted. Base Patriots stopped everything. But it's showing you right now that there is a gigantic fourth dimensional chess game going on right now. They are fucking panicked. They don't know what Donald Trump's going to do. We got the FCC telling everybody, hey, reminder, you have to broadcast our signals on everything, by the way. We're going to send fucking messages to the cell phones, through the television sets. If you got a phonograph in the background, it's going to go off. Why are they doing that? Why is the FCC doing that? There's all types of weird movements. Nancy Pelosi is calling Michael Pence's office. Michael Pence's chief of staff has been fired by Donald Trump. He's not allowed in the White House. Nancy Pelosi is demanding that Michael Pence invoke the 25th Amendment. She's on the phone for 25 minutes. She's on hold for 25 minutes, then he hangs up on that bitch. Donald Trump is apparently at an Air Force base in Texas. There's a reason why they're running out right now Joe Biden calling the Trump supporters who broke a window at the Capitol building domestic terrorists. There's a reason right now that they're saying we're using facial recognition. We're going to arrest everybody who went into the Capitol building. There's a reason why Kamala Harris, mainstream media press, everyone's saying, well, black people wouldn't be treated this way. What do you mean black people wouldn't be treated this way? I was watching black people burn down Democrat-run cities for like 9 months, man. You guys didn't do anything over there. Here you shot a fucking patriot woman within 4 fucking minutes. What are you complaining about? How is this a two-tier justice system, Kamala Harris? Our side got shot at immediately. You guys are still burning down Portland. It's been 180 fucking days at this point. See, because they had this rhetoric already written out. They had the articles all ready to go. They had the talking points already set. And they were hoping that Antifa was going to be able to mix in with their Trump gear and set that building on fire. Base Patriots stopped this. We averted another crisis, by the way. They were supposed to have a smoldering building, and then they were going to impeach. Donald Trump would have been impeached right now. That was the plan. They wanted Donald Trump impeached by the 8th if they could get that building burned down. Because they're fucking scared. Something's coming. I don't know listen, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what's coming. I just know that if they're moving that hard, that fast against, and using a broken window as the focal point for apparently the most destructive riot that has ever taken place in this country, they didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get what they wanted, and they wanted something to get Donald Trump out of office right now because they're panicked. All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Make way, because that salt must flow.
senators and House representatives. We have done our job. Now they're closing the exits and they're going to arrest everybody that's inside. Okay? So we've done our job. Let's step outside. Let's be peaceful and let's go sing the national anthem. USA! 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 This is our house! 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 Come on! Next word! Next word! Next word! Next word! Let's go! Keep pushing! Fuck 'em! Keep pushing! Excuse me. Are they pushing us back out again? You're my hero. Can I get a picture with you? Get up here. Have some photo ops. No, it's, I mean, whatever, man. Right now, it's just a hangout. Patriot hangout. Vice President Pence, my name's Damon Michael Beckley, and I do not appreciate one bit the situation you caused here, sir. All this violence and everything was 100% unnecessary, okay? Now we've got a girl that's shot, she's dead, laying on the ground in there. We're all crying like we can't save her.
And you, her blood is on your hands, Mike Pence.
You saw someone get shot?
They shot her right through the neck.
I heard that too, but I thought it was a rumor.
Yeah, it was a service weapon. We're not putting up with this tyrannical rule. If we're going to come back here and start a revolution and take all of these traitors out, which is what should be done, then we will. Bullshit!
Ich schätze 10.000, 20.000 Leute sind hier rund um das Kapitol.
Somebody's injured. He's not
Out the way. Make a hole. Make a hole. Make a hole. Back up, please.
Flex ties. Oh, that's gonna work.
And rosary in hand, you got it down, man.
Pushing though.
Who pays your fucking salary, you fucking bitches?
people! These are your people right here! Where are your fucking people? Oh, this is what you do for the Patriots? You don't do this shit to Antifa? Is this trespassing? Come on, man!
Sellouts! New world order sellouts! Take it out! We're coming through! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Fuck your shit! Get the fuck out! There you go. We're the news now. Put that on your cameras.
Yeah, you want to make us all look corrupt? Yeah, here's your fucking news story.
There's Fox News, there's CNN.
There's your fucking traitors. There you go, there's your news story.
Traitors get the fucking rope.
Fuck their job.
See you later, big news! Fuck fake 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 news!
Get out of the way, move! That's right, move! Let's go! Fuck the blue! Fuck the blue! Line of cops is pushing everybody back. You're good. David. Fuck you. All right, get him up. Power trooper. Where's your patriotism? But we still have our freedom of speech. Uphold your oath. Uphold your oath. Where is your car? I would go by the grace of God. It's not my car. It's I don't know what. If you came here without a plan to meet up, if you became separated, I'm sorry. I don't have anything. I wish I could.